Come bust a move where the games are played. It's chill, it's fresh, it's
Play on!
Hey, listen!
I'm Commander Shepard.
Let's do this.
I think we're just getting started. I think there's some school children down the way you can go and prank.
Hello, and again.
Get over here!
Welcome, everybody, to episode 68 of the Play On Podcast on PlanetArbitrary.com. I'm your host, Pat B. of Pat's Retro Video Game Reviews on PlanetArbitrary.com. And joining me tonight is...
Just Anthony and Portillo.
Just Anthony and the dog.
Annie has the night off tonight.
Annie is off tonight.
She's partying with her family.
Yeah, we're trying to do this verbatim because we just did a take and Anthony wasn't even recording. So
You're welcome.
yeah, now we're doing it
At
all
least
over
we weren't
again.
60 minutes into the podcast and realized that.
Yeah, and then we'd have to go back, and then nothing would have been fresh.
It would have been just horrible.
Yeah, because we have actual surprises on this episode.
There's so many things happening on this episode.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat. We're going to talk about everything, all the drama that happened with Steam and the mods. So Anthony's all over that. We're going to talk some Wolfenstein because Anthony has another review in progress for a brand new game.
That's what I do.
Yep, that's his thing. I'm going to be talking about Amiibos because Nintendo finally released a statement about all of the craziness surrounding the Amiibos. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I've also been just balls slapping up against retro games, just deep in retro games right now. I've been playing Sega Saturn a lot recently, and my Hello Kitty Dreamcast as well. And I've discovered, well, like I said, not discovered, but I've recently learned about probably one of the coolest pieces of retro gaming hardware I've ever come into possession of. It's amazing. I can't say enough about it.
Okay.
It's incredible.
I'm excited.
So I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the retro recap towards the end. But before we actually get started, we want to do a little surprise here. I have brought along with me some surprises from one of our, well, no, not one of our number one fan.
Friend of the podcast and life friend.
And life friend, Angel Baker. I've talked about Angel before. This is a listener of the podcast who makes seems to be now regular trips to Japan.
He must be loaded.
Yeah, he knows someone, or he's like
the hookups,
or he's a spy. One of the two. But in the past, Angel contacted me. I think that was last year about the Hello Kitty Dreamcast. Contacted us, said, "Hey Pat, I'm going to Japan. Would you like me to pick you up any video games while I'm there?" And I said, "Oh, just a T-shirt. If you go to Super Potato, which is a world-famous retro game store in Japan, I've known about Super Potato for many years now. I've watched hundreds of walkthrough videos of tourists that have gone through Super Potato and taken video of the store, and it's a very cool place. It's one of the only stores I've seen where there's stacks of still factory-sealed Sega Saturns and Dreamcasts and Neo Geo systems. It's amazing. Yeah, for a retro gamer, it's incredible. It's the Holy Land.
It's the Holy Land.
Yeah, it's amazing. So Angel actually went there and wound up picking me up a Hello Kitty Sega Dreamcast and brought it all the way from Japan, brought it back to the States, and delivered it to me, and it was incredible.
Smuggled it.
Yes, well, smuggled. Yeah, he had to bend gently,
some laws.
massage the laws to get the Dreamcast back to the States. But he did it, and it was incredible, and I've been forever grateful to Angel for doing that. Well, Angel went back to Japan recently. Yep, went back to Japan, went back to Super Potato, picked up some more stuff, but he also brought along some treats.
A lot of goodies.
Yeah, sent us, he's back now in the States, and he sent us a little care package from Japan, full of all kinds of goodies from Japan, various flavors of Kit Kats. I think there's a peanut butter and jelly Kit Kat over there. It looks like peanut butter and jelly Kit Kat.
The green tea one again?
I think there's green tea in there. There's Black Thunder is what it's called, which is number one chocolate treat in Japan.
That sounds frightening.
And now Anthony is going to try something that Angel spoke very highly about when he was in Japan. He came back, and the last time he was there, he said there was this snack food in Japan called the Tokyo Banana, which is very, very popular in Japan. This is like their version of like the Twinkie. It's like their number one thing. snack food, like you'd get at a gas station type thing. So
It's a white. It looks like an Apple product. It's like a white
Yeah.
box with a yellow banana and a bow tie on top, or not a bow tie, like a bow tie on top of the banana.
yeah,
Can I open it?
absolutely open up the box of Tokyo Bananas.
There's no scent. There's an instruction manual that it came with. Am I supposed to eat one?
Oh yeah,
On air?
yeah. Now you don't have to finish it, but you can definitely take a bite and try it out and see what you think of the Tokyo
I'm
Banana.
really nervous.
Yeah, Angel was very, he regretted not bringing some back last time, and this time he made sure to get Tokyo Bananas back to the States and send us some so we could try them. And so now, Anthony, for you, all the way from Tokyo.
The texture is very odd. It looks like a tiny little. It looks like a very hairy, spongy something. I don't even know how to describe it.
I think it looks like a little Twinkie.
What's inside of this?
Just, you're going to have to bite it and find out.
Oh God, it's broken in half.
He is biting into the Tokyo Banana. He's chewing the Tokyo Banana. What do you taste?
Like a banana cream pie.
Yeah. It's like a banana Twinkie.
Yeah. Okay.
do
I was
you-
really frightened going into that. I was like, you're like, you don't have to finish it, which I imagined this is going to be terrible.
Yeah. No, Anthony was like biting into it like a million spiders were going to come pouring out of it
What's
or something.
gonna happen? It looks like it looks like a Twinkie, but it has a very odd texture to it.
Yeah, it's a little different.
I like it.
You like it? Mm-hmm. I
I really
too.
like banana cream pie though.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I'm gonna say one for Annie.
Yeah, there you go. So
Wow.
Tokyo Banana. Now I have one at home that I put in the freezer, so that I'm hoping is like
That's a good idea.
like a
I'm
frozen
gonna do that.
chocolate banana type of thing. So
It does taste like a chocolate banana actually.
yeah. So thank you, Angel, so much
Thanks,
for
Angel.
all of the treats from Japan. The guys don't know it yet. The guys from Game Classy, they also have a little care package from Angel as well. So
That's awesome.
be
He's such a
delivering
good
that.
guy.
He's unbelievable. Thank you so much, Angel. All the Kit Kats and all the candy that he sent along, and the Tokyo Bananas, and even some games that he picked up for me at Super Potato. Some pretty sweet swag from Super Potato.
You wanna do this now?
Pretty pumped. Yeah, and now we get to open up. Now, last time Angel did this, he went to Japan. He went to a vending machine, and in this vending machine, you put in your money, and it dispenses a plain white box, and inside the box are 2 random Game Boy games. You don't have any choice in what games you get. It just dispenses random Game Boy games. Now, last time Angel went to Japan, he picked one of these boxes up for us. We opened it up on the podcast, and it was 2 RPGs.
Did you look
And
at these yet?
I have not.
Okay.
Well, he wrote very strict
Yeah,
instructions
open
on
on air. Names are in English. 2 Game Boy games.
Yeah, so I think Angel knows what's in there, but we do not. So now, Anthony, without further ado, open.
bees.
Bees!
Bees everywhere. Okay, here's what we got.
What do we got?
A basketball game, All-Star Challenge 2,
Nice.
Wario Land.
What? Really?
Yeah, Wario Land. It looks like Wario Land 3 from what I can tell. There's a bunch of Japanese writing, and then it says the number 3, and then Wario Land.
Oh, that's awesome. Here, let me...
I love how there's a vending machine that just gives you Game Boy games.
Oh, yeah, look at this. Yeah, Wario Land. Yeah,
So
maybe.
will those play in your regular Game Boy?
I think. I
Did
don't
you try?
know.
Did you try the old ones? The other ones?
No, I have not.
I think I might have a Game Boy somewhere.
Yeah, well, these are Game Boy. This is original
that's like
brick
old,
Game Boy.
original school.
Yeah.
But I had a Game Boy Pocket. That counts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the DS and the
Yeah.
color and the advance and all that stuff. But yeah, well, thank you, Angel. Jeez.
Angel, you're the bomb.
See, now I need to find out about region lockout for Game Boy. I don't think there is.
Well, all the text is probably in Japanese.
Oh, for
when
sure.
you play the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and he also did, the games he picked up for me were a few NTSC J Sega Dreamcast games. So he picked up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure,
Nice.
the original version of JoJo's
Love
Bizarre
that.
Adventure. Oh, it's pretty cool too. I mean, there's a girl in the game that actually throws a car at you. That's like her move. Like Ryu from Street Fighter throws a fireball. She throws an entire car. It's
badass.
awesome.
So badass.
So yeah, that Choo Choo Rocket for Dreamcast, which people I've heard either hate or love.
That's supposed to be like the greatest Dreamcast game ever.
Yep. Copy of Choo Choo Rocket, and there's also a game like Jet Set Radio, which I haven't had a chance to play.
Nice.
And then he also picked me up a game like Bomberman for Virtual Boy, a Japanese import Virtual Boy game.
Holy shit.
So yeah, I'm super excited.
I love Bomberman.
Yeah. So another reason to play the Virtual Boy. Super
Another
underrated.
reason to have a seizure.
Yeah, super underrated system.
Yeah.
So let's see. Well, thank you, Angel, again for sending
Thank
along all
you.
the stuff. You are the best for all the treats and everything like that. And you get to do this again because the guys from Game Classy are going to open up their care package. I'm going to be over there on Friday to deliver it. So.
Making them eat these weird bananas.
Oh, they'll gobble them right up.
Whole bite, one bite.
Yeah. So let's see. Moving on here. Video games. We'll start off Mortal Kombat. MKX is out. It's been out now for a couple of weeks. And, some of the DLC is starting to trickle in now. Now, some of the characters in the game, Predator is a playable character, which totally fits in that universe. I love that Predator is in MKX. But the first DLC character has been released for those that purchase the Combat Pack, which entitles them to all of the additional DLC that gets released after the release of the game. And the first character has been released, and it's Jason Voorhees from the Jason movies.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, the Friday the 13th. And I thought that is such a perfect character for Mortal Kombat. I don't know. I mean, like they've had Freddy Krueger before.
Yeah.
And they fit
Did they
very
have
well.
Jason before?
I don't think
I don't think
did.
so either, because they kind of made a big deal about this one.
Yeah. So he fits. And every time I see these announcements for characters for Mortal Kombat, I always cheer. I'm always like, when I read this, I was like, yes. Yes. That's just
merging universes.
Yeah, of course Jason would be in MKX. Why would he not be in a Mortal Kombat game? And he fits so well with the other characters in the game. So I was so excited about that. And I started thinking about what other characters I'd want to see in MKX that would fit that world, because you can't just take any random horror movie.
No.
You couldn't take like Dracula. Well, I suppose you could take Dracula, but like you'd have to Mortal Kombat-ify them so they would fit the game. But Jason just fits naturally. You wouldn't have to reskin him. You could just put him in the game and he'd fit, just like the Predator.
I watched some video of that, and it seems like Jason never runs. He just walks and walks fast.
Yeah.
It looks badass.
Well, just like the movies.
Just like in the movies.
He never chases anybody.
Yep.
He doesn't even jog.
No, he doesn't do anything. He just moves very slowly.
Yeah, because he knows you'll just come to him. You'll fall or trip or
He'll get you. He's going to get you.
Yeah, get in a car that won't start or run upstairs.
He'll get you.
But I was thinking about what characters I would like to see in an MKX game, and I asked Anthony this question and told him to ask Annie as well. What characters, and I'd like to know now, what characters... Well, actually, do you have a runner-up, or do you have one single character?
I do have a runner-up, yeah.
Okay. What characters would you think would fit best for the next DLC characters in Mortal Kombat X?
I'll tell you what Annie's was. And it's funny because Annie's on a video game podcast with us, right? But Annie's knowledge of video games, as the listeners probably can tell, is not vast. So it was really funny when I said, what horror movie character? And I explained the whole thing, and she goes... Well, obviously Freddy Krueger. And I didn't have the heart to tell her, like, well, that's already been done, because like she's right. That's a genius idea. And especially with Jason Voorhees. So her pick was Freddy Krueger, and her runner-up was, but she doesn't know how it would work. Her favorite horror movies are the Saw movies.
Oh, okay.
Like the creepy voice and everything. She's like, I don't know how that would work, but I think that would be badass. So those were her picks.
You could just have that doll.
Well, that's what I said. I said, well, the fucking doll is creepy enough. My pick was, and I feel cheated because Call of Duty used it, but I think Michael Myers is perfect.
Yeah.
Especially going up against Jason Voorhees, because they're both very similar enemies.
Have they ever been in the same movie together?
I don't think so. We've had Freddy and Jason. I don't think we've ever had a Michael Myers Jason crossover. And like, talk about two, like, could you imagine those two meeting face to face?
Yeah.
How fucking badass that would be. So I think Michael Myers realistically would fit very well into a game like that. My runner-up that I would love to see would be Ghostface Killer from Scream. Because that would just be hilarious.
And if you know what, and it fits. Yeah. I could totally see that being
the voice,
in there. Yeah.
like the comments, like I think it would be perfect.
Yeah. Like, get you, Cindy.
Yeah. You want to die tonight? What about you?
I thought about it a little bit, and first, some characters came to mind immediately. Like, right away, my mind went straight to these particular people to be in the game. But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I came up with a runner-up.
Okay.
So right away, my pick would be the Three Storms and Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China, which is essentially Raiden and Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
You know, are Lo Pan and Lightning from Big Trouble in Little China. I think they would be awesome in Big Trouble in Little China to get to control any of the three storms from Big Trouble in Little China would be awesome. Not to mention they had cool weapons.
Yeah.
So it'd be there'd be really cool attacks. My runner-up, though, as I kind of thought about it more, and I was sitting on the couch and thinking about it, and going through horror movies and everything, one of the killer clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's so weird you say that, because I'm like, man, what could come from Killer Clowns from Outer Space? Because I was trying to think of clowns.
Yeah.
That would be a great one.
Yeah, because they're creepy enough. They've
Oh,
got
so
weird,
frightening.
sharp teeth. They
Yeah.
could shoot the cotton candy gun and
Yeah.
put you in a... that could be their finishing move, is drink your melted body inside one of those cotton candy
That's
cocoons.
perfect.
And I thought that would fit perfectly. And I know that if I thought about it, or if I'm thinking about
Mm-hmm.
this, I'm sure the people that, NetherRealm Studios has thought about this as well, or they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But there you go. If you're listening, guys,
Clowns are too scary. Don't do that.
they're super scary.
Like, it doesn't bother me if I go to a haunted house with clowns. It doesn't bother me. But like playing a video game with a creepy clown like that would freak me out.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with clowns. I don't like clown dolls.
Oh yeah.
Like clown dolls with like those porcelain. I don't like the clown doll from Poltergeist is what I'm getting at.
Well, when it was this past Halloween, we were all at Joe's house. Joe's from Game Class, and we were telling horror stories by campfire. And Joe told one that was especially scary, and it was about a girl who was babysitting for this family, and she was in this room with all these collectible like toys and stuff. And like at one point in the night, she calls the dad and says, I'm sorry to bother you guys. Can I move the doll, the clown mannequin? Or can I leave the room? And the guy goes, well, we don't have a clown mannequin. And it was just like super creepy. And so that's even fucking worse because clowns are scary as shit.
Yeah. Joe's pretty good with horror
good with the
stories.
scaries.
Yeah, scary stories. He told one that actually lined up with an experience that myself and some of my our close friends actually experienced in a creepy old farmhouse that we lived in.
Oh, the farmhouse.
So, and as Joe was telling the story, we were kind of like, that's exactly what we experienced at the house.
Oh, with the walking past the noise, the motion
No,
detector?
the knocking on the roof of the house
that's
that we
right.
heard.
Oh, God, that's
that
right.
nobody was outside, but we heard knocking on the second floor of the house.
Too much.
That no one was there, and then Joe told us the story of the New Jersey Devil and how that thing went around. Back in the 1800s, and it would knock on the second floor windows,
fuck with people's windows.
of houses, and then they'd go out in the snow and see tracks of like a little devil that track off into the distance. So we're like, Jesus Christ, that's what happened to the farmhouse.
Creepy as shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Good thing you got out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was pumped to see Jason Voorhees, and those are good picks. Those are absolutely good
all
picks.
around.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And we'll have to see. Mortal Kombat in my eyes, can do no wrong. I love and they also released a bunch of skins for existing characters. So there's a bunch of stuff like that, but it's the actual new characters that they'll add to the game that I'm really excited for. They know how to pick them.
Yeah.
And I know they've done the Predator, which just made sense. I
is
thought
cool.
that was awesome.
Very cool.
They've done Freddy Krueger, and now Jason. You kind of see there's a theme. They're all kind of similar in a way.
What studio is it? Warner Brothers that owns Freddy Krueger or Jason and Predator? Because whatever that studio that owns those rights, I imagine we're gonna get more stuff from that.
Yeah,
because like that would be really cool.
That's
to have
actually
some stuff from that.
That's actually a really good way of nailing down who could be next. Finding the prospects. Nice. So Mortal Kombat stuff. Be sure to check it out. Speaking of my picks, the Big Trouble in Little China, and the Three Storms. This weekend, I'm actually going to a theatrical production of Big Trouble in Little China down in Chicago.
Are you gonna bring your pop vinyls?
Oh, my pop vinyls.
Wear them around your neck.
It may. I'd have to take them out of the package.
Oh,
that's
boy, don't do that.
not gonna happen.
That's a no go.
Maybe I'll open up Rain. I've
go.
never really. Rain is probably my least favorite of the three.
The pop
storms.
vinyls are good. You can take them out of the package and they go back in very easily.
Yeah,
no problems.
But there's a little plastic seal though, right?
No, well, not on the ones we bought. Maybe on yours. They're just loose.
If there's no plastic seal, I'll open it. If there is,
don't break the seal.
They're in there for good.
Don't want to break the seal.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on. We wanted to talk about Steam a little bit, and Steam actually got some shit. Actually, Gaben got some shit.
Lord Gaben.
Yeah, got some shit online about some stuff that they had pulled recently with paid mods.
Some shenanigans.
What happened?
So the backstory is, if anybody's used Steam, there are many games part of what's called Steam Workshop, which is basically an interface part of Steam that makes it really easy to download mods for games. Like basically you go into this workshop, find the game, there's lists and categories, you just like click download, and Steam automatically puts it in the correct order. It like does it all for you. So go into the workshop, find the mods you want, download them, launch the game. The biggest game with mods was Skyrim.
Of course.
So in the Steam Workshop, there were probably like hundreds, maybe thousands of mods. Well, all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, no announcement, anything, Steam all of a sudden started putting mods, or there were buttons started showing up that said like, pay for this mod. So traditionally, all mods have been free. It's user created, it's shared in the community, and you get them for free. Adding content to existing games. So all of a sudden, Steam puts out these buttons where you have to start paying for these mods. And they could range anywhere. The person can set what the prices they want. It could be a 99 cents. It could be a $500. And the thing that is interesting is, so say it's $1, Steam regardless takes 75% of whatever the price is the mod. So if you have a mod, you're like, I'm going to charge $1, you only get a quarter for that mod. So it was just kind of like ridiculous. And you could see both sides of the story. Steam was trying to reward good mod creators and giving them the chance to make money for their mods, but in the process, of course, they're pissing off the users who have gotten these mods for free and have come to expect this. So regardless if they were right or wrong, I'm not a mod developer, I don't really know, but regardless, there was a huge backlash from the community. Like, and of course, like, took to Reddit, like every website, people complaining. There was like articles written about it. So the next thing you know, Gabe Newell was on Reddit. He was doing an Ask Me Anything. People were like hounding him about it, and he was just kind of like giving like very canned responses. You know, he was just like, yeah, well, you know, we're trying to give money, but like people weren't having it. Yeah. And usually when Gabe Newell speaks, like everybody kisses his ass. Yeah, right?
Praise be to Gabe.
Praise be to Gabe and all that shit. And so to have him basically like be honest and have people be like, fuck you, like you're screwing us over, just goes to show that it doesn't matter who you are. Like if you piss off the gaming community,
absolutely,
you're screwed.
Yeah.
So I want to say it was within a day or two of this whole thing of these paid mods, all of a sudden they were gone. And the mod creator could refund somebody, but if you refunded somebody, they were like, it was like a 7-day ban or something. Like you couldn't do it again. It was like something ridiculous. So long story short, and the other problem is that there were people taking mods from other websites, like Nexus Mods is a really popular mods website. So the website Nexus Mods, you could get mods for free. People were taking them, uploading them as their own, and then charging for them. So it was just like rampant with all this shit, and like Valve could really do nothing. Like they couldn't prove it. So immediately pisses off everybody. So then the paying mod thing disappears. Bethesda, who's the creator of Skyrim, was like, you could tell that this was obviously a partnership between Valve and Bethesda. And so, I mean, like, it was like the Xbox One reversal. It was just like that. Like, the whole process was taken down, and now there's no mention of if it's going to come back. I doubt it. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what my stance is. Kind of like, I feel like I want the people who create these really good mods that take a game and either completely change it or add a bunch of content. You know, if you think about it in one way, it's fair that they kind of get money for that. And then at the same time, this isn't their game. You know, they're taking somebody else's art, somebody else's product, and they're manipulating it. So do they deserve money? I mean, it's just a weird gray area. But the moral of the story is don't piss off the gamers. Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are. And so it was really interesting because especially in the subreddit PC Gaming Master Race, or PC Master Race, like that is like the biggest circle jerk for Praise Be Gaben and all that. It was like there was boycotts, and like to this day they're still kind of boycotting Steam. Yeah. And so I don't know, it's just been very interesting to see how tides can turn so quickly.
Absolutely. Well, I think it just goes to show that game players, especially the dedicated game players, the enthusiasts, the ones that are buying all the new games and they're buying all the DLC, I think they've about had it with all of the nickel and
diming,
with downloadable content, additional content, pre-order, get this, and be sure to get this, and be sure to get that pack, and be sure to get this down. And I know I just said that, Mortal Kombat has all this great DLC, and if it's great DLC, great. The price, it's justified. I'll pay the price if the content is worthwhile.
Yeah.
But when every single game has all of this DLC, and we're forced to kind of pick and choose, like with me in Mortal Kombat, I accept the fact that I have to pay for DLC because I like their content, and that's fine. And if people like content for Skyrim or whatever and they want to pay for it, great. But if they just all of a sudden, and it wasn't like Steam, that's a very un-Steam-like thing for them
really
to do,
is.
to just be like, one day it's on and bam, now you got to pay.
Exactly.
That's something I think that they would have had like a community poll or a forum or something discussing that, what they'd be open to for pricing options, things like that. Have it be like the Humble Bundle where you can pay what you want, something like that. And I think it probably would have been far more successful if there was an option where you could have like gifted money or gifted Steam points or whatever. To the creator of these mods, because like you said, they're making money off somebody else's hard work and someone else's product. So there's a gray area there. The mods definitely enhance these games, but at the same time, you have these game developers that make these games, and the people that are overseeing the profits of it are kind of like, hey, what the fuck? We make our own DLC, and now somebody else is going to get money for their mods. So I understand, and it's a complex issue. There's a lot of money. People want to be reimbursed for their effort if they're creating something worthwhile or that's worth the price that they're charging for it. But at the same time, it's the game players get the brunt of it because we're just so sick of it.
We're the ones suffering.
Yeah, we're just sick of it. I mean, we especially us as being older gamers, come from a time where when you bought a game, that was it.
That was it.
That's the game. That
was the package.
We were used to getting a complete game.
Yeah.
Now, when we buy games, we get a portion of a game.
Yeah.
It's always, well, I didn't get the DLC for this game, but I like what I got. But we're still paying full game prices. So to see games parted out like that, it pisses me off. I hate to see that unless it's something worthwhile. I know it can extend the life of a game. It goes back and forth. It's hard to take a hardcore stance of anti-DLC and a hardcore stance of pro-DLC because there's, it falls on both sides.
There's a way to do it right, I think.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of those EA games where it's like people would find in the code, like everything in the DLC was already done. They're just waiting to it's already built into the game. They're just waiting to charge you for it. So like stuff like that is very irritating, but Skyrim's been out for a long time, and part of the attraction and the benefit of PC gaming is a big benefit. You have the ability to do mods. Yeah. And so if that became a standard where all of a sudden it was like people were going to have to pay for mods, I feel like that community would start streaking away. Yeah. Because it's like, well, what the fuck?
It would just go somewhere else. I mean, they would push them out of the mainstream commercial area of Steam, and they would just go somewhere else.
There'd be a new Steam eventually.
Yeah, there'd be something else. And you know what? Mods have been around for a long time. For Valve to come along and say, well, hey, let's monetize this now.
Right. Without any prior... Because what's interesting is, had they did what you said, which is talk to the community in advance, there were great ideas right off the bat. There were people who were like charging, like making a mandatory charge is stupid, but why don't you have a donate button? Yeah. Why don't you make it so that you can not only donate money, but you could donate Steam items? So like, Counter-Strike Go has, I think it's CS:GO or something, like all the different like weapon mods and all the different things that like skins and all that, which is like huge. Yeah. Maybe it's Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike has a...
or something. I don't know.
Both those games have a massive mod community.
So, like, can you imagine, like, if somebody had, like, something that was worth $50 and they wanted to gift it to a mod creator? Like, that's awesome. Why not? Yeah. So, it's just one of those things where it could have been handled a lot better. It probably could have been explained a lot better. But in the long run, obviously they did a 360 and we got to see, that saying... How does the saying go? It's like something like, once you know that God bleeds, you no longer believe that he's like infallible. That's kind of what it was. Like now we see that Steam can bleed. Yeah. And so people are already exploring other options. Like
there's a little chink in the armor there.
Chink in the armor. The Witcher 3 developer just came out with their own kind of version of Steam, called, I forget what it's called. It's like COG something or another. But people were like all excited about it because they're like, oh, now there's something that is not just Steam. Like there's another option that isn't like Origin and Uplay. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think that they they probably shouldn't have even ventured into the world of trying to monetize the mod community. They should. I think it might have even been a step too far to even support it and make it a part of Steam officially. You can make it mod friendly, but don't have like a whole mod thing, a whole section for mods. Because once you do that,
or commit to not charging for that.
yeah, exactly. Because once you do that, then all of a sudden, not just the users and not just Valve are looking at that. It's the game developers are seeing how that stuff is handled. They're like, well, look at this. Look at how Valve is supporting this community that's whoring out our product. You know,
this is what I imagine is what happened. Is Valve originally created the workshop because they want everybody in that ecosystem, right? They want every PC gamer to be on Steam. They want them to buy games, but a great way to get people to buy your products is if you fish them in with other things. And the workshop was a great way to do that because not only could all your games be in one place, but you can now get your mods. So like everything, you've got your instant messenger built in. So originally they did that. And what I imagine happened was somebody like Bethesda said, Skyrim is just getting like so many mods.
Yeah.
We want a cut of that, you know? And like maybe they had pressure to Steam. Maybe that's why Steam was charging 75% of the cut going to them.
Yeah.
Because maybe they were going to pay out to Bethesda. So who knows? But bottom line, it was a bad idea. It did not work out well.
Definitely a black eye for Valve.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Which we're not used to seeing.
No.
So
But good to see that there's some fan feedback on that.
Oh, absolutely. I was stunned that people were just, like you said, just shot them down.
Oh, yeah.
And even with Gabe with his canned responses, just shooting him down.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that they have a voice and you don't really want to mess with them because most of the times there's a lot of, it's toxic what comes from the user community. But when it's something like this,
Yeah.
you know, they barked up the wrong tree with this one.
Now everybody will be paranoid.
Exactly. Well, speaking of a big manufacturer that is finally admitting their flaws, Nintendo has finally acknowledged there is a problem with the Amiibo situation that is going on. If you are new to this, Amiibos are these little figurines that you can use to interact with Wii U games and Nintendo DS games, 3DS games, and they can interact in games. You can upload data to them. You can rank them up, and they're little figurines of many different Nintendo characters. Yeah. You know, all the regulars: Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Peach. I mean, they're all there, all the way down to Little Mac, Ness from Earthbound. Now, these Amiibos have been incredibly hard to find because they're a collector's item for a lot of people, and they're extremely limited. They're incredibly difficult to find. The Amiibo craze hit right when the dock strike was going on the west coast of the United States. So it was difficult to meet supply of this insane demand in the United States. And there was a crazy stat that North America actually had purchased over 65, almost 70% of the entire stock of Amiibos available to the world. So imagine it was difficult finding them here in the States.
Yeah.
Imagine what it was like for the UK gamers or anyone else for that matter outside of the US. Australia, Jesus Christ, Australia always gets dicked over in games.
And think about how many of those were fucking scalpers or whatever.
Right.
Resellers.
Exactly. And that's what happened because they were so hard to find and there was this perceived value attached to these things. Yeah, there was a crazy scalper market that is still currently active right now. Charging insane prices on eBay and Craigslist for these Amiibos that sell for $12.99 at the store.
Right.
I've seen them go for prices over $100, you know, upwards of $100, depending on the one you want to find.
Unreal. They're
They're selling out like crazy. U.S. retailers are having a hard time, and flat out botching the pre-orders for these things. People have just not been able to buy them. They see all these great announcements, all these new characters that are coming, and nobody can buy them because they're sold out immediately, or the pre-order system gets botched, and nobody can buy anything at all.
Yep.
So it's been a complete mess, and Nintendo has never commented on this. They've never said anything about it.
Making money, so they don't care.
Oh yeah, they're rolling in money. But they've never had an official statement or saying, yes, okay, we know there's a problem here. Because people are very, very upset. I mean, we've heard stories of people selling their entire Amiibo collection saying, fuck it, I'm done with these things.
Right.
And that's when you have a problem, when people are just cashing out and saying, I'm done. I don't even want to deal with it. People get a lot of anxiety and pressure when they see the next wave of Amiibos are coming out because they're going to scramble to try and find them, and then they're going to have to overpay for them. Yeah, and, you know, there was a great example of this that people are starting to get a little sick of the Amiibo craze. When we were at C2E2, we found a video game stand selling some Amiibos. And, of course, one that I've been trying to purchase for a long time is the Gold Mario. It's a Mario Amiibo that was a Walmart exclusive, only available at Walmart. When it was available online for pre-order, it sold out in less than like 5 minutes. It was sold out immediately. And Walmart has actually never restocked it since then. You can't purchase it anywhere. And sure enough, at C2E2, at this game stand, they had a Gold Mario. And I've been looking for one. And that Mario I think it was $40 or $50 for that Mario.
Yeah.
Along with some other Amiibos that were a little bit difficult to find, all for prices starting at about $40 and up. And Joe from Game Classy was with us, and he saw him. He's like, "Pat, there you go. There's your Gold Mario." And I was like, "No, no, I'm not paying $40 for it. It's $12.99.
$12.99.
It's $12.99. I'm not paying $40 for it." I was like, "I'll come back and see if it's here a little bit later." That Gold Mario Amiibo that everyone's been clawing for and been trying to buy, that stayed there all 3
I'm
days.
sure.
I looked. Every time I passed by that stand, it was still there. And on Sunday, the last day, I was with Joe, and I even pointed to it. I was like, "Check it out. That Amiibo is still there." So I think people are like, "Fuck that. I'm not going to deal with it." But anyways, the point is Nintendo has finally released a statement via their social media. It was on Facebook saying, yes, we realize there's a supply problem. We realize that the popularity of the Amiibo was far more than they thought it would, has exceeded their expectations. They're going to be resupplying certain Amiibo lines will get restocked and resupplied.
The ones you could find everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the tone of the statement was, and all people want to hear is, yes, all of the Amiibos that you want, you can purchase here or on Nintendo.com. Here's an Amiibo store. We're going to stock this all the time. So if you need an Amiibo, you can buy it. Because not only are people collecting these things just to collect them, like myself, but there are people that are buying them because they enhance the game that they're playing on a Nintendo product, on the Wii U or on a 3DS.
Right. People who want it for what it does.
Exactly. I mean, people that are playing Smash Brothers, if they play as Ness or as somebody a hard to find character Amiibo that is in Smash Brothers, they can't get it. They can't experience that additional gameplay because everybody else is scooping up these things and they can't find them anywhere. And I imagine that would be incredibly frustrating.
Oh yeah.
If I were a hardcore Smash Brothers player, I couldn't find half the characters that I'd want to play with. So all people really want is, where can I buy them and know that they're in stock all of the time at a fair price? That's all people want. Nobody gives a shit about the rest of the garbage or anything else that they're planning to do with Amiibo. I know in this statement that they released acknowledging the issues with the Amiibo, they said that there's going to be these Amiibo player cards coming out, which will kind of take the place of an Amiibo figure. They're going to be actual cards that you can swipe, like a hyperscan almost.
I was going to say, like the hyperscan.
Yeah, exactly. And all kinds of, some new playability features, some gameplay stuff, some things online, some other additional resources. But they only very kind of briefly touched on the issues that are, the real issues that are facing the community that are buying Amiibos and using Amiibos, which is, we can't buy them. We can't find them anywhere. All we have for an option is the scalper market, and we have to overpay for these things. They've really kind of just, glanced over it really quick, just kind of skimmed by it. Like, yeah, okay, there's a problem. We'll give you some more for certain characters. But hey, we're going to be releasing all these new cards and things like that. It's like,
more shit to not find.
Exactly. Nintendo, you have the power to open up an online Amiibo store, stock it regularly, and make the direct profits. I don't know why they don't do this.
They probably love it, though, because they're selling out instantly. There's all this buzz for them. But do you think it's going to end up turning into Beanie Babies?
Yes, absolutely.
Where 5 years from now, we're going to find them for a nickel?
We're on the backside of the slope of the peak, I feel.
You think so? Yeah.
Because that gold Amiibo is the perfect example. That was a perfect visualization of what's going on with Amiibo right now, is people looking at me like, fuck those things.
But what price? What if it was $20?
$20 would have bought it.
Okay, so
but not 40.
Not 40.
And not when you have somebody that's standing there like, I know what they're worth, man.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you know what you're worth. I know what they're worth because I know Meyer knows what they're worth, and that's what they sell them for, $12.99. That's what they're worth.
It's not dipped in solid gold.
Yeah, nothing more. Are they popular? Yes. How do you determine a monetary value on their popularity like that? Yeah, exactly. eBay prices. And what do those people do? I want $100 for this. Because I know somebody will buy it. Some schmuck somewhere is, going nuts trying to buy this thing. So it was a really weird statement. I mean, yeah, it was nice to see Nintendo actually acknowledge that there's an issue with facing the amiibos, but it was more like an alcoholic or a drug addict having to come clean and admit that they had a problem. It was like,
Right.
you know what, you're right. There is a problem with that I have. I have this problem, and I'm gonna change. I'm really gonna address this issue, but I think what I'll do is I'll just do less drugs and I'll kind of taper off the drugs a little bit. Like, it's not really fixing the problem.
Well, and it doesn't benefit that. It's not like making a few of the golden Marios benefits them.
Yeah.
Because all the people who are going to be trading it on the secondary market, they're not going to get... Nintendo's not making anything from that.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off the most is, like, they had the production facility, the tooling, they had all the stuff to make these characters. It's not like they made 500 and then everything just dissolved. Yeah. Like, they have the ability to make this stuff. So, like, wouldn't it make sense to just be like, you can pre-order them online. It will be back-ordered, but we will, because you're going to pay for it, we will ship you one.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to make sense.
Yeah.
But, like, no, it's like, we're going to ship them through Walmart and shit out of luck if you can't get it.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because Walmart doesn't know what the fuck they're doing anyways with these
Walmart
amiibo
doesn't
things.
care.
They're just like, well, I don't know, we got a crate of them and we sold them all and they're
Yeah.
gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're not Nintendo. We got a problem talking
I'm
to
sure
Nintendo.
Walmart paid Nintendo a lot for that exclusivity or whatever, but
Yeah.
like, all right, make a Silver Mario then.
Yeah.
Like,
and do you need... Do amiibos really need exclusive characters, retailer exclusive characters?
not when they're already hard enough to find.
Come on. I mean, you can have exclusive characters from Nintendo for certain games. Characters that maybe don't even really have much functionality or none. Whatever. You can just use them to store data, whatever, as a fancy USB drive, whatever you want to do with them. But do we need a Toys R Us exclusive? Do we need a GameStop exclusive?
The collector in me loves it and hates it because like the exclusives are like you want that thing so that you can be like, oh man, like barely anybody has this Golden Mario.
Yeah.
Like I got it because it's exclusive and it was in the right place at the right time. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like it's very frustrating when you're trying to collect them.
Yeah.
Because Annie and I were going through the same thing with the pop vinyls, the Game of Thrones, and like it was C2E2 was like our last hope. We were like, these are where we're gonna find the last 3 that we need, and one of them that we needed was a Comic-Con exclusive. $12.99. This is a $12.99 pop vinyl. The guy at the booth that I found it, $385.
Oh my God.
For a piece of vinyl, like, come on, like, give me a fucking break. It's just crazy.
Yep. So I don't know. We'll see how Nintendo follows through now with this new strategy going forward, restocking certain amiibo characters, and then all of these new resources for amiibo players. We don't want that. We just want the fucking figures that we want.
Yeah.
Just make. You can do it. Like you said, they have the production facilities.
They can't do it.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know. Sometimes the factory makes them, sometimes they don't.
Everything exploded.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we'll see what happens. So moving on from the amiibo craziness, Anthony, we have a new Anthony's review in progress for you. You've been playing Wolfenstein: The Old Blood.
Love me some Wolfenstein games.
How's it going?
It's going really good. If you played the last one, which was The Order,
yes,
that was, it's very much like that. It's like a shaved version of that because it's a $20 game. It's a standalone prequel to The Order. But it's very well done. It's like playing the same thing. If you liked that one, you really like this one. They didn't just like carbon copy. There's a lot of like new little mechanics and better stealth and different enemy types and weapons and like there's things that they did to change it. But for the $20 price tag, it's 8 chapters long. I've probably played close to 3 hours and I'm only through chapter 3.
Nice.
So like I'm getting my money's worth through it. It's challenging, it's fun, and it's got that Wolfenstein, lore and feel to it. The only thing it doesn't really have is the story. Like, Wolfenstein: The Order was really cool because it was kind of like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
You had like those really cool like cut scenes and like there was like a very edginess to how it was happening. But so far, 3 chapters in, you don't really get that. Like you're just kind of progressing through the chapters and there's the same characters voicing it, but you're not really seeing a lot of those cinematic like cutscenes. So you're getting a $20 experience, but I think you're getting a very good $20 experience.
Yeah.
So so far I'm really liking it. I'm playing it on the computer. I know it's pretty much the same, it seems, between the Xbox and the PS4 and the computer. It seems like they're all pretty much the same. So I would totally recommend it. If you liked the Wolfenstein The Order and you're kind of itching for something like that again, no brainer. Get it. If you don't like those games, if you don't like the first-person shooter where you have to pick up health packs and, it's like a throwback to the old school. If you don't like that, this isn't going to like change your mind. It's not going to blow you away. But it's a fun way to kill maybe 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it review in progress, but probably by the next podcast I'll have finished it. Right now I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
That's fair.
I think it's fair.
That's fair. And that's fitting for $20.
For a $20 game. And it's polished, it's good, but it's not going to like blow you away.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I enjoy it.
I love Wolfenstein. I love me Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I get it.
It is great. And I think that's perfect. I would be happy with a bunch of these $20,
right?
Pretty good, solid little chunks of gaming content. I'm fine with that. That'd be great if we had more of that.
Far Cry 3 did something similar where they came out with Far Cry 3 and then it came out with Blood Dragon. Do you remember that?
Yep.
It was like standalone, but it like was a whole separate story and it was like a different cool like time period. I like that. I like when they do that. Saints Row just did that. I think it's cool because you kind of have that itch, and rather than waiting 2 or 3 years for the next iteration of that franchise, you can kind of get this, and they're kind of treating it right. They're like, this is essentially DLC, but you're getting a whole game for it. So
right, and look what happens to all of those.
Right,
they become insanely popular.
Yeah,
like people really
there's
like
low
them.
hype, low expectation.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, and that's actually what happened with Wolfenstein: The Order. I feel like there wasn't really any hype.
Yeah,
people were just kind of like, World War II game, Nazis, Wolfenstein, but like. That was one of the best games I played that year.
That was one of the best trailers
for trailers for like game. For sure.
Yeah.
So and it's the same thing now. Like I didn't even know that. Like maybe I read a couple weeks ago or a month ago that it was coming out, and then like that morning I woke up. I'm like, Pat, happy Wolfenstein Day! Like I was so excited that a game was coming out I didn't know about.
Yeah, I actually saw that while I was in my car, and I just kind of was like, oh, Wolfenstein! That's right, Wolfenstein.
I love when this happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I will definitely have to check it out. I've my time has definitely been split amongst a lot of different gaming adventures. In the last 2 weeks, I've been all over the place with more retro gaming than even new gaming.
Yeah.
I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast here that I would tell all of you about one of the most amazing pieces of retro gaming hardware I've ever owned or come across. And it may seem trivial to some people, like, oh, that's not that big. Uh-huh. But if you're in the kind of situation that I was in this past week and a half, if it's amazing.
Okay.
It's the holy grail of it's exactly what I needed to find.
Okay.
So when we were at C2E2, I picked up some import Sega Saturn games, and one of those is a mature title, an adult title called Pia Carrot 2, which is kind of like it's not necessarily a porn game, but there are definitely mature themes, and like anime girls that are scantily clad, and a lot of huge animated boobs everywhere. So I was very excited to find Pia Carrot 2. I was super pumped to find it at C2E2, so I bought it. I got home after the convention, and I went to take my modded American Sega Saturn. It's modded, so it's got a dip switch on the front, so you can switch it to either play American games or Japanese games, because the Saturn is region locked, depending on which model you have. So this Saturn, I've played all of my imports on for Sega Saturn, and it's worked beautifully. I love that Saturn. I go to play Pia Carrot 2, turn it on, nothing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, dead disc motor.
Oh, shit.
No disc spinning, nothing. It's dead. It powers up, but it will not spin a disc.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no matter.
So it won't play any game.
Oh, it's totally dead.
Damn.
It's bricked. And I messed with this thing till the wee hours of the morning. Trying to get this thing to work properly. Couldn't get it to spin up a disc. So I was like, damn it. I'm stuck. I can't play my import Saturn games anymore. So immediately I thought, I have 2 other Sega Saturns as backups. So I was like, well, all right, this is what I could do. I was like, I could take apart the actual modification that was made to the Saturn and move it over to another Saturn.
Like Tony Stark of video games.
Exactly. But then I thought, well, I could damage it. I could ruin the mod chip that was added to it. I could damage this other Saturn, and I'd be out one of my backup Saturns. So then I thought, well, maybe I could probably find a cheap actual Japanese Saturn. online. They start at $64 without a power cord, without a video cable, and without a controller.
Jesus.
Yeah, and go all the way up to $600.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and they all ship from Japan. And I couldn't really find any in America that were cheaper than that.
Wow.
And also the shipping on them, it was maybe $64 for the Saturn, plus $54 shipping and handling. So it's like, damn it! I was like, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and do it. I have a bunch of Saturn. Yeah, I have a bunch of Saturn import games.
Because you could always buy an American Saturn if you needed to, right?
Well, I could buy an American Saturn, but then I'd still have to mod it.
Right.
I'd still have to
But
if
you broke one, yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually have to break out the soldering iron and actually do some soldering and modification to the actual board. And I was going through all kinds of Sega Saturn forums, going through tons of photos of the chips and the boards and the jumpers and all the stuff that people were using to make this mod and the dip switches and placement. And people were saying, "Oh, it doesn't work here, but it kind of works here. It works best here, but it's difficult. You have to do it here. This is the toughest spot to fit it." And it really made me appreciate the system that I had because it was so beautifully done. Whoever did that was just masterfully put it all together. So I was like, God damn it! What am I gonna do now? So I was either looking at buying an import Saturn or going through this modification process. But then, looking online, I came across this thing called the Action Replay Plus.
Okay.
The Sega Saturn itself has a cartridge slot, which serves as you can add in a memory cartridge because the Sega Saturn has a very, very small amount of internal memory. So you can put in a memory cartridge and you can save your games to these cartridges. This cartridge called the Action Replay Plus serves as additional memory for the game. It's kind of like a Game Genie for Saturn. You can load in codes, but also if just the cartridge is plugged into the slot, it will allow you to play import games on an American Sega Saturn.
That's simple.
Just like that. You just plug the cartridge in, put in your import game. The Saturn boots up into the Action Replay Plus menu screen. You just hit Start Game, bam, loads the import game, and you're off and running.
Perfect.
Yeah. Guess how much this cartridge is?
I don't know, $20?
$25.
$25.
Available on Amazon.
Totally worth it.
Available on Amazon. It's been out forever. Not only that, it was brand new. It came to me fresh in the package. So it was amazing. So I ordered it up. On top of that, you can actually mod this cartridge itself. Take a Dremel tool, cut out the top. There's a 27-pin connector on the top of it that will allow you to connect it to your PC.
Son of a bitch.
So you can do modifications from your PC to the Saturn. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's incredible. It allows cheats, which I really don't care about the cheats. It allows memory saves, additional memory saves, and it completely takes care of the region lockout.
Wow.
I was floored by this thing.
That's totally worth the price.
Yeah, and so I was reading all the reviews. I was like, this is too good to be true. This is like a magical key that just unlocks the entire game catalog for the Sega Saturn. And I was reading the reviews of it, and people were like, well, because it's cartridge technology, just like an NES or a Super Nintendo or a Genesis, it's prone to the problems that come, that are inherent with a cartridge. You plug it in, sometimes you have to blow it out. It doesn't boot up properly. So I was like, damn, this thing seems kind of, people were complaining about the cheap feel of it, that it was cheaply constructed.
Was it made by Mad Cats?
No, it's made by like some weird ass other I've never heard of this company before.
Then you're fine.
Yeah, I know. Well, as soon as I saw that it wasn't Mad Cats or Galoob, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm buying it. So I was like, oh, I bet this thing is too good to be true. I was like, but it had a bunch of positive ratings as well. It came in the mail. I ran straight to my Saturn, plugged it in, put in Pia Cara 2, bam, Pia Cara 2 loaded right up.
Bitch.
I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
That's awesome.
So if you have a Sega Saturn, you must own an Action Replay Plus. It's incredible. It's amazing.
So you could just leave it in there all the time. It's not going to affect anything.
Never
right?
have to take it out because if memory saves,
perfect.
If game saves are not really critical or crucial to you, you just want to play these import games, you can leave it in there all the time.
Oh, that's perfect.
You have no reason to take it out. So
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Now, the older version of the Action Replay Plus actually has the expansion port to plug into available, just built into the top of it. But when they took that out, they left the connectors on the actual board inside the cartridge. So all you have to do is like I said, take a Dremel tool and just cut it out.
Son of a bitch.
And there it is. It's still there. They didn't even change the design.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I can't believe this thing was even made, was allowed to be made, and is just out there and does everything you want it to do. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love finding new gadgets and hardware that I didn't know existed and being like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
that's how it happened with the NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah, and it works properly. It does exactly what it needs to do. The game ran flawlessly. I mean, I played X-Men Children of the Atom just to make sure. I was like, this is a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
Let me try some other games. Perfect.
Son of a bitch.
No issues at all. There's
All this time.
All this time, and it's always been there.
How much did you pay for the modded Sega? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember. Probably, it wasn't much. The only retro game system that I still remember the exact dollar amount because it was insane was my Neo Geo CD.
Oh, yeah.
And it was because I overpaid for it just to get the guy to let go of it.
You're so excited.
I just had to have a Neo Geo,
Yep.
and it wasn't even for sale. And I just kept throwing my just like, here, take money. Just tell me
take
when.
my
Just
allowance.
tell
Yeah,
me
take
when
it
to
all.
stop throwing cash on you, and I can take this home with me. So I don't remember how. It wasn't much.
Okay.
But I do remember being very impressed at the quality of the mod the person did, because it's got a very solid dip switch that's mounted just super tight on the front of it. It looks like it came that way
That's
from
awesome.
Sega. So I was very sad that it died. So now that I have this this cartridge that now will allow me to play all my import games, now I am going to open up my other Saturn
you're gonna
and
do some
see
surgery.
about extracting that mod, because it was
Nice.
so beautifully done.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
So that's what I've been doing. I've been just scouring Saturn forums, which, believe it or not, I know it's probably hard to believe, are not current
I'm sure they're not.
at all.
Probably a lot of GeoCities and
Oh yeah, a lot of GeoCities. It was a lot of, oh, well, here's a post from January of 2014, and then look, someone updated it in March of
Yeah.
2014.
Perfect.
Yeah, awesome. This one's
that's
active.
great.
Yeah, so it was a lot of that, and I was starting to really get kind of upset, because I was like, fuck, now I need to buy an expensive Japanese Saturn. Now I
Leave it
don't.
up to that. Leave it up to the consumers.
Yeah.
We'll find a way. Life will find a way.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, so I'm in love with it. If you own a Saturn, you got to get it. It's a must-have.
I hope one day somebody who has like a Nintendo 64 and they have a big collection and they weren't aware of the expansion pack. And then one day they're like playing like Perfect Dark and they're like, God, this just runs like shit. And they do some research and like, wait a minute, I could buy an expansion pack which will make my games look and run better. Like, God, I want to be in there when that happens.
Yeah. So it's so I've been doing that. Then also more Hyperscan stuff. My God, if I buy another Hyperscan game pack or booster pack that is factory sealed, I'm gonna freak the hell out.
Because you can't open them.
I can't open them,
can't
and
do it.
people are listing them as open or as played or
the
as
fuck?
used, and so then I'm like, oh great, this one I can play. I've ordered 3 more since I last talked to you about this. They all came in the mail, all factory sealed.
Son of a bitch.
I have nearly a complete factory sealed collection of Hyperscan games. I just
it.
want to play one opened one. So I got that. And then I also picked up a little personal favorite of mine that I've been looking for a while and finally just pulled the trigger on. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yes.
The video game.
Didn't know that there was a video game.
Yeah, I didn't either for the longest time until I finally was like, there's got to be a Big Trouble Big Trouble in Little China video game, which lo and behold there is, but it was made for the ZX Spectrum, which is like, it's kind of like the Commodore 64 almost. I think this is the one that people refer to as the Specky.
Okay.
People in the UK have it has a very cult like following in the UK. People are like, oh, I love my old Specky and everything. I think this is the same system. People are very into Commodore, older Amiga systems, and the ZX Spectrum, which they recently did a re-release of the ZX Spectrum that was on Kickstarter, I believe. So it's got a following, but I'm not familiar with many of the games. I know a lot of the games came on a cassette tape. This one, Big Trouble in Little China, is on cassette tape. You
That's awesome.
load the cassette, it reads the tape, just like my Street Fighter game
God, that's awesome.
for Commodore. So it was on eBay. I finally bought it. It showed up. It's in beautiful condition.
That's awesome.
Looks like it's never been played ever. Has all the inserts. It's amazing.
Wow.
So now I finally have the only Big Trouble in Little China video game in my collection.
That's cool.
So
You're going to have to find one that's unopened now.
see, now look what you started.
Sorry that I'm not sorry.
See what you've done. See, this happened to me today. I just found out that did you hear about what's going on with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No.
They killed Donatello.
What?
Yeah, Donatello's dead.
The cartoon? Like the current cartoon?
No, the comic book.
Oh,
The comic book
really?
series. He's fucking dead.
He's got to come back.
No, he's
Well,
not.
come on.
And that's what I thought. I was like, they can't just kill a Ninja Turtle. It's like,
Donatello's my favorite one.
I was like, exactly. He has the best weapon. So I was like, so I found this out today at work. The guys were talking about it. I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, they killed off Donatello in the comic
What the
books.
fuck?
And the issue is sold out. All the pre-orders, it's sold out. Issue number
Horrible.
44 of the Ninja Turtles comic book, they killed Donatello. And I was like, they can't kill a Ninja Turtle. Are you
fuck?
crazy? So I look it up online, And then I found an interview with the actual creators of the comic, and they actually gruesomely killed Donatello and said
What
he's
the
not
fuck?
coming back. He's dead.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
He better come back.
No, he's
going to be the
fucking-
next paid mods fiasco.
I know. They killed the Ninja Turtle.
Wow.
We live in a world with 3 Ninja Turtles.
Well, my favorite comic book / superhero, Wolverine.
Yeah.
I don't buy many of the comic books. I've only bought maybe like 6 Wolverine comics, but I bought the entire series. They just killed off Wolverine permanently. So there was a comic book series called The Death of Wolverine, and it was like 4 or 5 comics, and I bought them all. So that's sad. So he's dead.
Yeah. They're just-
So everybody's dying.
yeah. Yeah. And it's nuts. It's weird. I know like the death comics sometimes, and Joe from Comic Book Logic and Game Classy can probably clear this up a little bit better.
See, that makes me, because Joe always says it doesn't matter if a comic book character dies, they will always come back, unless that was just a DC universe thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, Superman.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
And then they just killed off Robin in the Batman Incorporated
Right.
comics. And now they're killing Donatello. I don't know if this is a move that's just used to push copies.
Probably to spark
You know?
up. Like, look, who would have fucking talked about Ninja Turtle comic books
Yeah.
until this?
Yeah, and that's what I said. There were 4 of us, at work, and another guy was like, "Why would they kill Donatello?" And I was like, "Well, when's the last time 4 guys were at work talking about Ninja Turtles?"
Exactly.
Yeah, so-
Ninja Turtle comics, nonetheless.
Kill Splinter, kill Shredder, permanently kill Shredder.
Kill
have
the
a
Foot.
new villain, but not fucking Donatello.
Toka and Razor.
Yeah,
Kill him.
yeah. Rocksteady Bebop, take them
Rocksteady
out.
Bebop,
Finally,
kill 'em.
do it, or have Krang grow legs or some shit.
There you go.
know?
Pro legs just walks away. Game over.
Yeah, exactly. So, so now I'm on the quest to find, to get this issue because I love the Death comics. I have the Death of Robin. I have the Death of Superman. I like the Death comics.
It's crazy.
So,
Bummer about the Donatello. He was always my favorite.
yeah, he's gone. He gone.
Gone.
So I think that's gonna probably do it for us
That
on this
does it.
episode of the Play On Podcast. Let's see. Be sure to check out planetarbitrary.com for all your Planet Arbitrary needs. Be sure to check out Game Classy with Joe and Steve, where they talk all things tabletop gaming, Warhammer, 40K, all that good stuff. All the Kickstarters in tabletop gaming, they cover it every other week on Game Classy. Be sure to check out Comic Book Logic is back. They've been doing a great series watching all the Marvel movies. Joe and Kevin are doing Comic Book Logic. They're back. Joe and Kevin are finally back together on a podcast, which is always good.
United.
And it feels so good. And it's great. I was just listening to the Thor episode, and they shredded
I love Thor. I don't want to listen to that.
the Thor movie.
I don't want to listen to that.
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
And then when I listened to, Joe and Kevin critique the Thor movie, I was like, you know what? They're totally fucking right.
I don't even want to know.
That movie. That's why that movie was weird to me.
I don't want to know.
So, Comic Book Logic, be sure to check out all the podcasts on iTunes. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. Be sure to check out the Play On Podcast Flipboard. Anything we talk about on the podcast, you can find on the Flipboard, along with anything we find interesting in the world of gaming. You can also check out all of the Twitters. You can follow the Play On Podcast at Play On Podcast. You can follow myself at Pat's Game Reviews. You can follow Anthony at
Snoogans to you.
And you can send Annie a letter.
Smoke signal.
Be sure to check out Reddit, our game collecting. Lots of resources there. You can check out lots of other collections, what people are buying in retro gaming. So if you're into retro gaming, you're looking at starting a collection, our game collecting is a good place to start. Also, GameCollecting.net is undergoing a huge overhaul. They're redoing everything. But one thing that is staying the same, one thing that is totally established, one thing that I talk about every single episode and encourage everybody to go and visit and join and regularly check and read is the GameCollecting.net Facebook group, which is incredibly active and is awesome. It's probably one of my most favorite Facebook groups right
real?
now. Yeah, I love it. Well, because it's constantly updating. I mean, people are constantly submitting stuff to it. And there's really some very cool things in there. Stuff that you don't see in other game collecting forums. Stuff that people find. I really like it. It's very active. People, like to see other stuff. They comment on your stuff. They are very anxious to put games on there, stuff that they find, and tips for people that are putting together their own collections. So
Nice.
Be sure to check out the GameCollecting.net Facebook group because it is awesome.
That's awesome.
And then stay tuned. Check back at GameCollecting.net because they're redoing everything. Whole new experience with GameCollecting.net.
Changes.
Yeah, changes. And then be sure to check out our friends at funstock.co.uk. Our discount code, I believe, is still active, so if you want to get a 5% discount, 5% off any online order, enter the discount code PLANET, and you'll get 5% off any online order at funstock.co.uk. And I think that's it. There are no more.
That is it.
I probably forgot something, but...
Flipboards.
Yeah, flipboards is probably
did
good.
that.
All right. Well, until next time, guys.
Play on.
Play on.